Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more StarCraft 2. Today it is time to play another game for your life while also giving commentary to it at the exact same time. And my opponent is asking, hi, yes I am, whether or not I am that streamer. Now I also make YouTube videos, I don't know if he's aware of that. I'll let him know in just a second that I am gonna go ahead and do so, but in this particular game, I plan on playing a macro-focused style with Mutalisks, Zerglings and Banelings, and then potentially transition to like Ultra and Brute Lords in the late game. We'll see if that's gonna happen though. I am currently recording a video though. There you go. Now he's aware of it as well, Mr. Barcode. Just in case, you know, he thinks I'm currently live streaming. It happens all the time when people are like, hey, you're that live streamer, right? And they immediately pause the game and be like, okay, let me open up the stream. And I'm always like, oh, I don't know if he's actually like cheating right now. He at the very least, like on this map, would know my spawn location, or if he's just checking whether or not it's actually me. But looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. He is focused in the game though. Tryhard mode has been activated because obviously you want to try and win these sweet, sweet ladder points. So I'm gonna try my very best in this particular game. I've been playing a lot of Roach Ravager in Zerg vs Terran, which is honestly one of my stronger ways of playing. Like I do really feel very comfortable playing that style nowadays. But the fact of the matter is that in Korea, like at the highest level of play, they do about 50-50. They do about 50% Roach Ravager and about 50% Mutaling Bane as well. So, I mean, sometimes you just need to take it, guys. Sometimes you just need to do that. I mean, you know, sometimes, I don't even know what I'm saying. Oh, right. Sometimes it's good to try and mix up your styles a little. I am a little more uncomfortable playing this style with the Mutalisks, the Zerglings, and the Banelings just because it's significantly more difficult to play, honestly. And the other one's way easier, but it's so much nicer in the late game as well, and the transition's so much better. The thing about Roach Ravager is that it's great until the Terran gets 3-3 upgrades. Once they get to 3-3 upgrades, you better have your Infestors ready to go and, like, you know, all those kind of units, because otherwise you're just gonna be in so much trouble. I would say early game is a lot easier to play with Roach Ravager, whereas late game is much easier to play with this style here instead. So it's all a matter of like microing well and trying to not die early on. If you manage to do that, you're gonna be a-okay. The only issue obviously is staying alive, and I would normally recommend pretty much everyone that's like, you know, below Diamond League or so to play exclusively Roach Ravager. I mean, most professional gamers right now that aren't in Korea actually, wow, we do get that snipe there, that's huge. Most professional gamers right now that are not in Korea, like the foreigners, will most of the time play Roach Ravager, it seems like. So it's definitely a viable style. It's just so much stronger in the early part of the game. Just because, hey, Roaches don't really require very much micro against things like, you know, for example, Hellions and all that. So much easier to defend with those. Either way though, we're just gonna play a good old Mutaling Bane style. This has been something you could play ever since the very beginning of StarCraft 2. It's been something that people have been playing for like literally decades now. It was actually relatively common as well, obviously without the Banelings back in Brood War, which you guys may know is the, you know, expansion to the original StarCraft. So, you know, people played Mutaling all the time in that as well. Obviously a completely different game, but you get the point I'm trying to make. Okay, gonna go ahead and pick a Spine and a Spore at the front here, just because I do like having that little bit of additional vision. And I want to get this Overlord over towards his third base as soon as possible. For the moment, you can see I'm pretty much blind, right? I don't really know very much about what my opponent is doing. I'm adding on an extra Overlord or an extra Queen as well, just in case. And the nice thing about this particular map is that there's really only one way my opponent could be walking into my base, and that is like on top this ramp here. So that means I just need to make sure that I don't lose out on that. Gotta go ahead and get the double upgrades, as well as the sets of Zerglings going here. I want to get roughly 8 sets of Zerglings. 16 Lings or so is very good early on in particular. Am I sending workers across the map? Why am I doing that? Must have accidentally misrallied those. Don't really want to go ahead and do that. Okay. So now I have 3 queens dedicated to creep spreading. One is going to move over towards that third base very shortly. Okay, there we go. So I got quite a lot of Zerglings here. Lair is going up. Gotta go ahead and take this extra gas as well. And actually, I can just start rallying towards that natural instead. I think that is alright. Just need to keep an eye out on the minimap as well to see that to spot incoming drops and all that. We'll get the Baneling Nest first. I'm a little bit late on my gas geysers, meaning that my upgrades are going to be slightly late as well. Early on, I'm definitely going to focus on defending here with my queens and my roaches and ravagers, or like my queens and my zerglings and whatnot instead, just because mutas are not a great way of like dealing with early game aggression, just because marines are pretty good at mutalisk in small numbers. And you need to make sure you obviously get that going. Now the creep spread here is extremely beneficial for me. Like that helps out so much. I'll go ahead here and take a macro hatchery as well and start spreading creep everywhere. So far my opponent has not denied any creep whatsoever. He is going for that third base as well, so that's an important thing to note here. And I'm gonna put out my spire right now as well. Okay. Okay, so here my opponent is gonna go ahead and do some aggression. I'm moving over the queens as well. This should be more than okay. Just in case I can morph in a couple of them. But making drones is a follow-up here, by the way. Target firing down the Metavex. And we'll get the queens back into action. Okay, so very nice. It's very nice. He killed a little bit. He killed like one overlord, right? Oh, this would suck. Don't want to lose those. He killed like one overlord. Nothing too exciting there. Okay, this is less fortunate, I guess, but we should be able to still clean this up with relative ease. Gonna go ahead and like respread this creep immediately, or as soon as I can. Luckily for me, he didn't kill all of my tumors, which is very nice. And since he does have a third base as well, I'm gonna go ahead and take the fourth base right up here. Gonna expand relatively far away from my opponent, just because that makes it much easier to defend. And as soon as I can, I'm gonna start up 2-2, as well as a bunch of Mutalisks. So right now, I'm just basically saving up. As you can see, like, I'm trying to get away with minimal amounts of army, right? And the idea of that is that if I get the economy going first, I'm gonna be able to do way more later on into the game. Okay, making a big clump of mutas right now. And just, you know, trying to defend here with minimal losses. Gonna start up +1 or +2 armor here as well. And we'll go for the fast hive if we can. Hive play right now is incredible. As you may be aware, hive play is really good. Okay, it looks like he's actually transitioned into this unit instead. The Liberators obviously deal extremely well with, you know, my units. Gotta make sure that I micro well. They do splash damage to air. And they also stay alive for a relatively long amount of time. Okay. Did force out a stim there. Gonna go for... I actually got 2 layers. I never realized that. Normally whenever I make 2 layers on accident, I never realize it, and the comments on the video is like, oh my god, I can't imagine! I can't, like, you know, I don't understand, how did you not see that? It's like, ah, guys, I'm focused on other things. Alright. Morphing some Banes. I don't know how much he wants to commit here. He's only at 1-1 upgrades. We'll go for a high fray shortly. I do want to push out, by the way, as soon as my +2/+2 and +1 attack finish up. So it's gonna be a little while before we get there, but I do want to make a push out while that is finishing up. So bit of a timing there. Oh no! Oh no! Lowko, what the fuck was that? I just donated a bunch of my mutas. He seemed like a Terran player in need. Sometimes you just need to donate. Okay, no, I would not recommend that. Okay, going up to my hive here. Moving over my army over this to this place instead. Okay, target firing down the Metavex. Okay, that's a nice little pickup. It's about to finish up, and I guess we're just gonna push. We're just gonna push. We'll let that creep tomb die, or that creep die. He's gonna need his army at home. Split up a bunch of my links, just in case. Oh well. This is a huge push here. Moving over the Mutalisk here and reinforcing with more links. I was about to finish up, so we get a nice transition going very shortly. I'm also gonna start droning here. Splitting up a bunch of my units, just in case. Adding on Corruptors now as well. Okay, looks like we're dealing with this rather well. I mean, he's not really microing very much of it, so that helps out. I don't need to rush this out, right? The thing is, like, sometimes you smell blood and you might be able to finish the game. I may have very well just set up a really good opportunity to finish out the game, right? But the thing is, I'm not completely convinced of it. I'm not sure if I actually will. So it's much safer for me to just simply sit back here and take the guaranteed lead instead. I mean, we killed pretty much everything he owned, which probably indicates that we're going to be able to finish this off a little bit later with ease if I get my Ultralisk out, right? So I'm getting 3-3 right now. I'm always going for the guaranteed advantage instead. Always going for the guaranteed advantage. I mean, if I lose this because I miss micro, so be it. So be it. I just feel like this is the much better approach in the long run. It's not so much about this one game here with the ladder points. I'm trying to, you know, win games in the future as well, and my late game needs practice, so I feel like this is a great option of doing so. Getting like so many upgrades here, right? I spent a lot of a lot of money here to try and get those upgrades going instead, so need to make sure that I obviously deal with all of that. Still spreading creep like a madman. One of the things I've been working on as well. But here we go. Ultralisk are being in production now. I'll go ahead and knock down these rocks. And in the meantime, I want to be adding on some more Banes as well. Don't want to go low on Banes. So look at his army, right? His army isn't very impressive anymore. I don't think we're going to finish up all upgrades yet before this, but this will be fine. This will be fine. Look at how small his army is. Yeah, I probably could have finished off the game. Maybe I went a little bit too defensive here, but I mean, it doesn't actually change anything, right? Like, doesn't really change the situation very much. Okay, we'll set up a huge surround here because we can. If he wants to move onwards, that's fine by me. We set up a huge surround here. I'm buying as much time here as I can. Ultra Cavern about to finish up. 3-3 is just about to finish up as well. And my opponent knows that I'm practically playing with my food. Look at that mini-map. Look how many units are still swarming in as well. And my opponent is forced to GG out. So, maybe I played a little bit too defensively right here, right? But I'm always a big fan of, like I tried to explain in the middle of the game, I'm always a big fan of trying to get a guaranteed lead rather than like take the risk and potentially finish off the game. Or maybe get caught by 4 Widow Mines and lose, right? If you're spending a lot of resources, like if I'm spending 200 here on Adrenal Glands, and then 300 and 250 or some shit on that, 2 Evo Chambers, and the Ultra Cavern, and the Chitinous Plating upgrade, it basically means that I just spent like thousands and thousands of minerals, well, I don't know. Anyway, like 1,000, right? To get upgrades going that are not gonna be valuable until like 2 minutes later. So, if I pull back at that point, it's not because I'm, you know, not completely certain about what's going on, and I'm not, like, convinced about the fact that I'm actually gonna be able to win it right there. So, usually it's much better to just simply go back and not put all your eggs in one basket. I know it's one of those things that is very easy to get really greedy about, I suppose, because I do that all the time as well, where I give away huge leads, and I'm trying to be better at that. So hopefully you found this game a little bit useful. Definitely a swarmy game here where we basically just overwhelmed the Terran player. And I hope you enjoyed watching it. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button as well so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!